In this video, you'll learn how to use a few of the more useful methods that are found in the FlatList component. Specifically, you'll extract the unique IDs of your items for easier tracking, and you'll render separator lines, a header, and a footer for your app. I've opened the file for the Little Lemon mobile app, in which I previously used FlatList to display a scrollable and lazily rendered list of the restaurant's menu items. When I expand the array that is stored in the Menu Items to Display component, notice that it is essentially an array of objects. Each item has a name as well as a unique ID. For example, there is 1A, 2B, 3C, and so on, without any repetition. The reason for each ID is that they will be used in the FlatList component. Specifically, I'll pass a prop to the FlatList component known as the key extractor. I'll begin that by typing key extractor between the FlatList tags inside of the return statement for the menu items component. What this does is extract a unique key for a given item at the specified index. Why would you need this? Well, a key is used for caching and as the React key to track item recording. Remember that if you're using FlatList to render a large list of items, each item is given a key. Just like you would use a key for lists in React, you would also use a key for lists in React Native. So, for key extractor, I'll pass our item and let it extract the item ID. I can type this as item in parentheses, followed by an arrow function operator, and then item.id. So when I run the code, key extractor will look for a key for each item in the list, but it does not change anything in the UI. The next thing I want to demonstrate is how to use the FlatList component to generate headers, footers, and separators. Let's start with a separator component that will render a separation line. I'll create a new component and name it Separator. In here, I'll render a view and then pass in an existing style for it, which will show a separator line with a bottom border width of 1, and also applies a border color. To do this, I'll open a view tag and type style equals, followed by menustyles.separator in curly braces. This will extract the separator style from the menu styles component where it is stored. Now the separator component has been created, but how can I use it within the FlatList? Well, FlatList has a prop which it can take called item separator component. In the FlatList component, I type item separator component and then pass in the separator component that I just created. Now the FlatList knows how to render the separator, so let's check it out in the emulator. You'll find that there is now a separator line between each menu item, and this comes from the separator that was just created using the item separator component prop, which was a part of the FlatList component. Note that you're not limited to using lines as separators. If your use case calls for it, you could also use images. Just like I created the separator component, I could also create other components within the FlatList that will automatically be detected and rendered. One such component is the header component. Currently, I have the header written as part of the render method in the menu items component. However, I can move it to its own component instead, so I'll create a new component called header, and this time it will render the text view menu. So instead of making the header a part of the render, I'll pass it as a header component to the FlatList itself. The prop you'll need to pass is called list header component, and to that you'll pass the header prop. Let's check the app in the emulator again. Initially, the header appears the same as before, but recall that it is now part of the FlatList. This means that when you scroll down the list, the view menu header moves off screen. In contrast, the page header stays in place because it is a separate header that is not part of the FlatList. Now that we have a header, let's finish off by creating a footer for the FlatList component. This will be a similar procedure as I did with the header. I'll create a new component called footer and apply a style which is stored in the menu styles component. In the footer, I'll render the text all rights reserved by Little Lemon 2022. In the FlatList component, I'll add the list foot component prop, and to that I'll pass the footer component that I just created. And now, checking the app in the emulator once more, you can scroll to the very bottom and find the footer rendered as part of the FlatList. In this video, you became familiar with how to use the key extractor prop to extract unique item IDs. You also learned how to render separator lines with the item separator component prop, render a header with the list header component prop, and render a footer with the list foot component prop. This was all done inside of the FlatList component using built-in methods. Well done.